The Indiana Fever locker room just exploded with drama that nobody saw coming, and Aliyah Boston's latest revelations are sending shockwaves through the WNBA community. What she just exposed about Caitlin Clark and their teammates will completely change how you see this team. The 2025 season hasn't even officially started yet, but the tension is already boiling over, and Boston isn't holding back anymore. Remember when everyone thought they had the Fever figured out? Well, think again. In a bombshell interview that dropped just days ago, Aliyah Boston finally addressed the elephant in the room about what really went down last season and what's happening right now behind closed doors. The way she describes her first real conversation with Caitlin Clark after that legendary Final Four matchup where Clark dropped 40 points on South Carolina's head is both hilarious and revealing. Boston admits she had to confront it immediately when they became teammates, telling Clark straight up that she didn't need to go that hard, but the way Clark responded showed exactly why their chemistry became unstoppable. If you're loving this insider tea, smash that like button and comment Fever to show your support for this dynamic duo. But that wasn't even the beginning of the real story. What Boston revealed next about the social media chaos and locker room rumors from last season is absolutely wild. She explained how she would literally wake up from pregame naps to find the internet claiming they all hated each other. Meanwhile, the whole team would be laughing about it in the locker room, asking each other if they were good. The disconnect between what fans thought was happening and reality was so massive that Boston had to completely log off social media just to maintain her sanity. She wasn't mad at Caitlin for bringing the spotlight, but the way people twisted every single interaction into drama was inane. The shocking part is what's happening right now in 2025. With the new season approaching and roster changes already creating buzz, Boston's latest comments suggest there's way more going on than anyone realizes. The way she describes watching Caitlin's eyes during plays to know exactly where to position herself shows a level of basketball IQ that most fans don't even understand exists. She literally reads Clark's mind on the court without any verbal communication, just pure instinct and chemistry. That's not something you can teach or force. It either happens or it doesn't, and for them, it's magical. What happened next in the interview will blow your mind though. Boston started exposing how the media completely fabricated stories about their body language and attitudes. She revealed that sometimes players just have bad games and it affects them personally, but that doesn't mean they hate their teammates. The internet would see one frustrated expression and create an entire narrative about locker room beef that simply didn't exist. Meanwhile, the actual team was so tight that they protected each other from all the outside noise and focused solely on winning games. But here's where it gets really interesting. Boston's comments about the 2025 season preparations hint at something bigger brewing. With Sophie Cunningham now on the roster, bringing her fierce energy and competitive spirit, the dynamic has shifted in ways nobody expected. The chemistry between Clark, Boston, and Cunningham is creating a triple threat that other teams are already worried about. Boston mentioned how they've been working on new plays specifically designed to maximize all three of their unique skill sets, and the results in practice have been absolutely devastating for opposing defenses. The way Boston describes the pick and roll chemistry with Clark is basketball poetry. She explains how teams have to choose their poison because if they drop coverage, Clark's shooting that three-pointer immediately after Boston sets the screen. If they step up to contest, Clark's threading a perfect pass to Boston rolling to the basket. And now with Cunningham's ability to stretch the floor and create her own shot, defenses literally don't know what to do. Boston revealed they've been experimenting with plays where all three are involved in the same action, creating defensive nightmares that coaches are already losing sleep over. What really stood out was Boston's raw honesty about the pressure she puts on herself. She admitted that when random trolls online would call her the worst post player they'd ever seen, it actually affected her even though she knew it was ridiculous. That's the human side people don't see. These players are real people dealing with unprecedented scrutiny. The fact that she could laugh about it now shows incredible growth and maturity, but it also reveals how toxic the online environment became during their adjustment period. The most explosive revelation came when Boston addressed the rumors about players wanting to leave the team. She shut that down completely, explaining that every single player on that roster was committed to building something special in Indiana. The way she described their team meetings and how they rallied together against the outside negativity shows a level of unity that most teams never achieve. They didn't just become teammates, they became a family protecting each other from the chaos surrounding them. Boston also dropped some truth bombs about how the Caitlin Clark effect actually helped everyone on the team. She explained that while fans might come for Caitlin, they leave recognizing that the entire entire roster is filled with elite hoopers. The increased attention meant more eyes on everyone's game, leading to more recognition for players who might have been overlooked before. Boston specifically mentioned how proud she was to see teammates getting endorsement deals and opportunities they never had before Clark's arrival brought the spotlight. The way Boston describes their current 2025 training camp is absolutely insane. She revealed they've been putting in work that nobody knows about, developing chemistry that's going to shock the league when the season starts. The connection between her and Clark has evolved to another level where they barely need to communicate on court anymore. Boston said they've reached a point where a simple glance tells them everything they need to know about what play to run or where to position themselves. What's really fascinating is how Boston addressed the narrative that she and Clark didn't get along initially. She completely destroyed that myth, explaining that from day one there was mutual respect and admiration. The competitive fire they both have actually brought them closer because they understood each other's drive to win. Boston revealed that Clark was the first person to text her after tough games, always offering support and encouragement. That's the real locker room story nobody wanted to talk about because drama sells better than genuine friendship. The 2025 roster additions have created even more excitement according to Boston. She hinted at some lineup combinations that coaches have been experimenting with that are absolutely lethal. The way she described watching film sessions with Clark and seeing how they both process the game at such a high level gives insight into why their partnership works so well. They're not just talented players, they're students of the game who constantly push each other to improve. Boston's comments about the playoff loss last season were particularly revealing. She admitted it hurt, but also motivated the entire team to come back stronger. The way she described their exit interviews and the promises they made to each other about 2025 shows a team on a mission. They're not satisfied with just making the playoffs, they want to dominate and prove all the doubters wrong. Boston said the chip on their shoulder from how they were portrayed last season is driving them to new heights. The social media aspect Boston discussed was eye-opening. She revealed how players would literally have group chats making fun of the wild theories people created about their relationships. One story she shared was about a game where she and Clark had an amazing assist connection, but because Boston didn't smile immediately after scoring, people claimed they were beefing. Meanwhile, Boston was just locked in and focused on the next defensive possession. The disconnect between perception and reality was so massive it became comedy gold in their locker room. What Boston said about the upcoming 2025 season schedule has everyone buzzing. She mentioned that they've been specifically preparing for certain matchups that they know will be must-watch television. The rivalry games are going to be absolutely electric, especially with the chemistry this team has developed. Boston hinted that they have some surprises planned that will catch opponents completely off guard, plays they've been saving specifically for big moments. The way Boston praised Clark's leadership evolution was particularly interesting. She explained how Clark went from being the rookie learning the system to becoming a vocal leader who isn't afraid to demand excellence from everyone, including veterans. Boston said watching Clark's competitive fire in practice is inspiring and pushes everyone to match that energy. The standard they're setting for 2025 is championship or bust. No other outcome is acceptable. Boston also addressed the criticism about their offensive system last season. She admitted there were growing pains as they adjusted to playing together, but explained that those struggles made them stronger. The way they've refined their offensive sets for 2025 based on what they learned last season is going to make them absolutely dangerous. Boston revealed they've been working on pace and spacing concepts that maximize everyone's strengths while minimizing weaknesses. The defensive improvements Boston discussed were equally impressive. She explained how they've been studying film together as a unit, learning each other's tendencies and developing better communication systems. The way she described their new defensive schemes suggests they're going to be a completely different team on that end of the floor. Boston specifically mentioned how Clark's defensive intensity has elevated, turning her into a legitimate two-way threat that opponents have to respect. What really stood out was Boston's confidence about their championship potential. She didn't just say they could compete, she said they expect to win it all in 2025. The way she described the hunger in that locker room and the work they've been putting in during the offseason shows a team that means business. Boston revealed that every single player has been in the gym improving their game. Nobody took the offseason lightly. The chemistry between Boston and Clark has become so natural that Boston described it as basketball telepathy. She explained how they've developed their own language on the court through subtle movements and positioning that defenders can't read. The hours they've spent together studying film and working on their connection is paying paying massive dividends. Boston said what they're capable of together in 2025 will redefine what people think is possible from a guard-center duo. Boston's final comments about the team's mindset were absolutely chilling for opponents. She said they're not coming to participate, they're coming to dominate. The disrespect they felt from how their locker room was portrayed last season has turned into pure motivation. Every practice, every film session, every workout is fueled by the desire to prove everyone wrong. Boston made it clear that 2025 is their year, and anybody who stands in their way better be ready for war. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Hit that subscribe button right now because we're going to be covering every single moment of this explosive fever season. Comment below with your predictions for how many games they'll win in 2025. This team is about to shock the entire WNBA world, and you don't want to miss a second of it.